It was an action-packed day for the Prime Minister of India, having landed in Indonesia last evening. Narendra Modi's official engagements began today. A visit to some of the most prominent sites in the Indonesian capital, interspersed with crucial talks. Our cover story tonight sums it up.
This is the Kalibata Heroes Cemetery. Prime Minister Narendra Modi began his day in Indonesia with a visit to the site and paid homage to the martyrs of the Indonesian War of Independence. After laying wreath at the memorial in South Jakarta, Prime Minister Modi was officially welcomed by the Indonesian President Joko Widodo. The Istana Merdeka Palace rolled out its red carpet to welcome the Indian Prime Minister, who held both a one-on-one meeting with the Indonesian leader and a delegation-level talk too. Both nations agreed to cooperate on a wide gamut of issues, terrorism being the primary one. Prime Minister Modi condemned recent terror strikes in the island nation, calling for a need to tackle extremism with urgency.
Friends, हाल में हुए आतंकी हमलों में इंडोनेशिया के निर्दोष लोगों के मारे जाने का मुझे गहरा दुख है। भारत इस प्रकार के हमलों की कड़ी निंदा करता है। इस मुश्किल समय में भारत इंडोनेशिया के साथ मजबूती के साथ खड़ा है। इस प्रकार की त्रासद घटनाएं यह संदेश देती हैं कि आतंकवाद से लड़ने के लिए विश्व स्तर पर मिलजुल कर किए जा रहे प्रयासों में और अधिक गति लाने की समय की मांग है।
The two leaders signed 13 memoranda of understanding on issues ranging from trade, culture, science to maritime security. After a promising round of deliberations, the two leaders let their hair down. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Widodo flew kites. The occasion was the inauguration of a kite festival along the theme of Indian mythologies. PM Modi's outreach was multi-layered. He extended his Ramadan greetings to the Muslim-majority nation with a visit to one of the biggest mosques in Jakarta and Southeast Asia at large, the Istiqlal Mosque. The Indian Prime Minister had his Madison moment in the Indonesian capital when thousands turned up to hear him at the Jakarta Convention Centre. Indonesians were in for a sweet surprise when Prime Minister Modi announced a 30-day free visa scheme for citizens of the country.
इंडोनेशिया के नागरिकों के लिए 30 दिन के लिए भारत यात्रा के निःशुल्क वीजा की व्यवस्था की जा रही है।
The Indonesian president left no stone unturned in extending a warm welcome to the Indian leader. A banquet was hosted for the Indian Prime Minister at the Presidential Palace, the highlight of which was a performance by a professional singer, Frida Luciana. Having rekindled a long-standing friendship with Indonesia, he wraps up his visit. Prime Minister Modi now heads to Malaysia and Singapore in a bid to concretize his Act East strategy. Bureau Report, WION.
So what makes the Indian Prime Minister's Indonesia visit significant? Other than the strategic and economic angles, there's also a deep cultural connect between the two countries. Indonesia, as we know, is the world's largest Muslim-majority country. It's an archipelago of more than 17,000 islands. Nearly 13% of the world's Muslims live here. That's more than 220 million people, more than the Muslim population that lives in India or in Pakistan and Bangladesh. But even though it has the world's largest Muslim population, Islam is not a state religion in Indonesia. The country follows a motto that's very dear to Indians as well. Indonesia's national motto is unity in diversity, and there's good reason for that. Even though nearly 88% of the population is Muslim, they come from more than 1,300 ethnic groups. 95% of this population is of local ethnicity. The rest are of Arab, Indian and Chinese descent. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about this diversity when he addressed the Indian diaspora in Jakarta today.
और इंडोनेशिया सांस्कृतिक बंधन से बंधे हुए हमारे बहुत पुराने संबंध हैं.
In fact, in all the 54 countries that the Indian Prime Minister has visited since he assumed charge, Indonesia is the most diverse nation, even though it has Muslims in majority. This is a country which does not treat Hindus as minority, in fact celebrates Hindu cultural motives. Though Hindus form not even 2% of the local population, there are thousands of Hindu temples in Indonesia. The most important is the 9th century temple of Prambanan in central Java. It is dedicated to the Trimurti. The country's official airline is named after Lord Vishnu's ride, the Garud. And now the world's biggest statue of Garud is coming up outside the Bali International Airport. The statue is being built at a cost of $100 million on a hill overlooking the airport. Being built with stone, copper and brass, it will have a sculpture of the Hindu god Vishnu astride the Garud. The language of the country is known as Bhasha, which in Sanskrit means language. There are a number of Sanskrit-inspired words. Let me give you an example. Pension in Bhasha is Greha Purna Yuddh. Some accounts link the island of Bali to Samudra Manthan, or churning of the oceans, mentioned in the Puranas. Puppet shows inspired by Hindu epics Ramayana and Mahabharata are still very popular in Indonesia. The country has issued scores of stamps on the Ramayana and Mahabharata, and there's a SERAYU river in Java, just as the Saryu in Ayodhya. Now take a look at this. This on your screens is an Indonesian currency note. It's the 20,000 rupiah that was issued in the year 1999. It has an image of the Hindu god Ganesha on it. That's because Ganesh is worshipped as the god of education in Indonesia. This note also carries a picture of the country's first education minister, Ki Hajar Dewantara, whose birth date is celebrated as the National Education Day. The note also carries a picture of a typical classroom in the country. This currency note was discontinued in the year 2004. It was withdrawn in 2008. What's more, even the President, Joko Widodo's grandchild, shares a name with the Indian Prime Minister. President Widodo's grandson is named Sri Narendra. The Indonesian President shared this information with Prime Minister Modi when they met today. While hosting the leaders of ASEAN countries earlier this year, India's External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj recounted an encounter former Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee had with a sculptor in Indonesia. This is what she told us.
मुझे याद पड़ता है कि अटल जी जब विदेश मंत्री थे तो वो इंडोनेशिया गए तो उन्होंने देखा कि कुछ लोग सड़क किनारे बैठकर मूर्तियां बना रहे हैं, तो उन्हें लगा कि ये मूर्ति तो हनुमान जी जैसी है। तो उन्होंने बताया कि मैं जिज्ञासावश कार से नीचे उतरा और मैंने उनसे पूछा कि आप क्या बना रहे हो, तो उन्होंने कहा हनुमान जी की मूर्ति। तो कहते मैंने तपाक से कहा कि पर आपका तो मुस्लिम बहुल देश है और आप भी मुझे मुस्लिम लग रहे हो। तो उनका जी जनाब। तो उनका आप हनुमान जी की मूर्ति क्यों बना रहे हो? तो जवाब मिला, साहब हमने मजहब बदला है, पुरखे नहीं बदले।
Before the advent of Islam in Indonesia, sometime between the 9th and the 13th centuries, when traders from the Arab world first came to this region, Indonesia had a Hindu and Buddhist past. Today, this country is one of the world's major emerging economies. In fact, it is the biggest economy in Southeast Asia. Apart from Indonesian, there are some 300 local languages that are spoken there. There's a lot that the world can learn from Indonesia. Unlike India, where anything cultural is seen through a prism of communal versus non-communal, this is a country that celebrates its diversity. It lives in tight embrace with its past, not in denial of it.